Major Music.
All right, what's good? Coming at y'all with another episode of the Major Music Lounge podcast. Today, just kind of doing it solo. Haven't done one of these in quite some time. If this is your first time tuning into the Major Music Lounge podcast, like to talk all things music creation, usually doing interviews with other music creators. But I haven't again done one of these solo episodes in quite some time. I just wanted to come on and say thank you. We just actually crossed 100 episodes of the Major Music Lounge podcast. Actually, this is episode 102 of the podcast. When I originally started the Major Music Lounge podcast, that was in January of 2021. And the reason that I started the podcast, and for a lot of people, I told this story actually when I did start and maybe a few times here and there, but I used to do this other show called The Producer's Corner, which was on Icebreaker Radio at the time. We ran a show from like 2009 to I think it was 2016 or 2017, but it was kind of like this to the degree where we would talk to other music creators we had on there, like Paul Wall, for example.
That People's Champ album, and then even before that, man, with a lot of the stuff with Chameleon there, definitely been a big fan. So what do you have going on right now?
Right now, I've been working on some new music. I got something called No Sleep Till Houston that I've been working on. I'm looking to put that out later on sometime this year. I've just been in the studio. I've been doing a lot of stuff with my boy Mouse, who I did a Busybody with.
Yeah,
We went in.
And that BR, what's up?
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
what's up, man. So is this gonna be a full album or a mixtape?
Man, honestly, to be straight up for real, I don't know what I'm gonna do. To be honest with you, I just know I've been in the studio working. You know what I'm saying? And I just got some music. I'm getting this music together. As soon as we get something worthy of being a single or something, putting out to the streets, we're gonna try to put it out there. But until then, we just been recording. Really, no set agenda. Like I said, I don't have a release date. You know what? I don't even have a record label that I don't know what label I'm gonna put it out on either. I've just been grinding in the studio, getting it in.
Fiend from No Limit.
Man, just a big fan of what you've been doing, man. So definitely a pleasure to have you on the show, and I appreciate what you did, Louisiana hip hop.
That's what's up, man. I'm flattered that you catch up on my releases. You know what I'm saying? Those are definitely tunes that are dear to me. You know what I'm saying? That I reach into the depths of my soul to make sure that I put out something new, well worth somebody listen to something different and new. You know what I'm saying? In other words, I call it reinventing the hip hop wheel. Look at.
And we've also had on a lot of other like independent artists and producers, but we did some pretty cool interviews. Some of those are actually still here on my channel. If you search hard enough, the Producer's Corner. And it was kind of this community like feel for music creators to just be a part of. At one point, it was like myself, we had Super Mario, we had Cool Nerd Productions, we also had Nuance World Productions, out of all three out of Ohio, Houston, and Louisiana. Ask you this question, but what made you at that time want to start Icebreaker Radio?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, like what Trey was talking about, we went to audio engineering school, and I think that was in 2007, Trey, when we was doing our thing. And then, because I remember I got married 08, 08, 08, and then so I think it might have been in 08, 2008 that we kind of got together and went through it. Well, my uncle, you know what I'm saying, and he ran a decent program, but we were so far advanced for his class, and we were looking to get into more advanced stages of the record business. And so primarily for the most part, we both made the decision to kind of, venture off and work together, do a couple things. He was impressed with my rap skills at the time. Yeah, I do. But they were pretty much the main cast, as well as Mr. Lee, who's a well-known like Texas producer. Also,
did a lot of work with like Nipsey Hussle before his death, but he was on the show for a brief moment in time as well. And we stopped doing that show in 2016. And at that particular point in time, I didn't know what my next move was. I was just strictly doing music, being an artist, being a producer at the time. And over the last couple of years, probably leading up to when I started the show in 2021, I personally, like, I was thinking about making a comeback and doing something like this again. And during the pandemic, of course, during COVID, you had a lot of people just starting a lot of new things. So that's when I personally decided to get back into not necessarily radio, but wanting to create a podcast for other music creators. And originally, even with that, it started as a music producer show. Like, I didn't have artists on probably maybe my first like 5 to 10 shows. And it wasn't until like one of my good friends who also is an artist by the name of Zach One hit me up, and he was the first artist to be on a Major Music Lounge. Zach, tell us a little bit about where you got the concept for doing the
Right.
album and doing a project.
Yeah, so like V said, basically, when we first had talked about doing the album, we wanted to do some. I just told him, man, look, man, we older now. We ain't really living the life we used to rap about. We used to, we've been through that, and let's just do something that's real. We could talk about where we came from, how we came up out of it, but let's do something that our kids can listen to, and that we ain't gotta, fast forward tracks through for the little ones. Oh, you want to hear this?
Sure.
Blah, blah, blah. So, I kind of V was kind of stuck at first because he had never done nothing like this, and I kind of been on that path a little bit, and I was shooting him some stuff to get him inspired, and he got in that groove, man. And the whole point of the album, or the whole idea behind the concept of parallel universe, because the album itself is called Parallel Universe. It's kind of like the theory about parallel universes, that there's another universe somewhere else with a different outcome of situations or decisions we made in life, and there's a different us somewhere else. Well, this is like kind of just looking back at our old selves and being like, look, man, this is who we used to be, but that's not who we are now. You know what I mean? And just letting people see the transformation, and letting people know that you don't have to always rap about negativity, even if that's all that's around you. You know what I mean? Like, we came up out of that, and I'm not going to say we don't endure things like that to this day, but it's not something you always have to just glorify or rap about. You know what I mean? You can talk about, there's better things to talk about. There's better ways to go about living life in a more positive manner. So I believe that this is going to be something that we're both really hoping the youth can look at and listen to and get inspired by and get behind those type of ideas, to where it's like, man, we can do it too. We can rap about, everyday life. But I mean, when you in that life and you live in that life and you're surrounded by negativity, why not do something different and try to uplift people instead of just keeping it in the content of your music, which kind of weighs people down in a way sometimes. I understand, don't get me wrong, I understand, like, living that life and being around that, that's what comes with it. And that's all just basically just trying to avoid some of the stuff we've done already, and it's a new page, a new look in our lives and a new way to go about, approaching the rap. And, it does have also an element of where we connected with a lot of the youth from our city. So our city is very hip hop oriented and based. When the first MCs came out of my city, they were all about hip hop, you know, and we never really got that shine. We're in the middle of two huge communities, which is Oakland and San Francisco. We're San Jose. There's three big cities around us that have got a little more recognition than us. Obviously, we're just kind of a small city, but everybody's always trying to be the first one out of the city to make it big. And I kind of feel like if we don't support each other, then nobody's going to make it big. So we're just trying to uplift a lot of the youth as well, and we tried to include them on this project and let them, you know, kind of bridge that gap, you know, build that bridge to where, you know, we rocking with you, rock with us, and it's working great, bro, because you're starting to see a lot of these young cats that were it kind of felt like they were, you know, didn't know what to do, which way to go. Like, should they mess with us? Should they not? But they jumping on board, just promoting our stuff. They're rocking with us. We're doing the same thing for them. Shout out Knuckles. That's a little young homie from the town that's putting one out right now, and it's got a good push behind it. We supporting that to the fullest. Anybody coming out of my town, man, you know, as long as they're solid and they've been coming up the same way we have, and you know, we just gotta support each other and keep that push alive. Or like I said, I don't feel like we'll get anywhere, man. It's not about, you know, I always say it's not a city, it's a movement. You know what I mean? That's a little saying behind this whole project. So that's kind of how I feel, and that's the concept behind the Parallel Universe album.
Show. And then, you know, my homie Boom as well was like the second artist to be on the Major Music Lounge podcast. And from there, you know, a lot of people on the outside looking in. There was one interview actually, like with another producer by the name of Calvin, who I met through, you know, doing a lot of like iPad music production on Instagram. And he was on the podcast, and that led me to building a relationship with not only him but also Rook One. Rook One saw the show because he followed Calvin, and I mean from there, you know, I had a lot of other situations like that where one creator was on the platform and then another saw it and started following me or reached out to me to get on the platform. You know, it's had its ups, it's had its downs. I remember there was one point where, you know, I didn't have interviews for quite some time, and you know, it got kind of slow during that point in time. That was actually earlier this year, like right after January, because you know, late last year just dealt with a lot of things away from music, and I took a lot of time off, and I was kind of gradually trying to get back into doing the show. And though things were slow at one point, someone did eventually reach out to me. I think it was actually Calvin, and then also Rook One, and you know, a lot of other creators earlier this year, and it kind of got the ball rolling again. And you know, I make my occasional posts on social media about looking for interviews, and I met a lot of people that way as well. You know, shout out to artists by the name of Sani, and then you know, Anthony Church, who also has a similar platform called a Proven Knowledge Podcast. You should look for him on Instagram and give him a follow as well. If you like listening to other music creators' stories and, you know, just getting some knowledge from other creators, maybe it might help you in your own journey. Here we are, a little over 3 years later, with the Major Music Lounge podcast. And, you know, I'm just looking to continuing to expand, maybe doing more local shows if there's like any type of events going on here in Dallas, or maybe I'll go back to where I'm from, Lafayette, Louisiana, and be a part of some of the events down there. Or possibly, you know, if you're doing an event in your city and I have an open schedule, I might be open to coming out there, you know, whether it's like a performance or, you know, any type of event I would love to be a part of. And you know, please reach out to me. You know, the platforms D.Major Music, D._Major Music on Instagram, on Threads, and TikTok. But during that time, I've heard a lot of interesting stories. Also having an interview with Matthew Fetcher of Audio Kit. If I'm not mistaken, like the original app was developed off of C++, and then it transitioned into what's it, Swift Playground.
Yeah, so you know, we were trying to make kind of hooks, so like there's this level of C++ underneath, and we're trying to have this layer of Swift on top, so it's more readable, and you know, someone just off the street who's new to programming can say like, hey, build me an oscillator, or like, you know, reverb, and instead of having to know all this like obscure code. So like right now you could just take one line like reverb, you know, and put in the parameters, and you could have a reverb in your app. And so that's what's kind of our goal, is to like add this top layer to this really complex code that I mean, to be honest, I don't really even understand a lot of it because it's contributed by a lot of different people.
And just finding out that they use Swift playgrounds to do a lot of their development in, I thought was pretty cool. Talking to the Fingers, who's a producer from the DMV area, but came on to talk a lot about like music publishing and how he seeks out opportunities to get his music in film and television. What was that panel like? You know, because it was a African American sync licensing panel, and I saw a small clip that you posted. But you know, kind of go more into that. What was that panel like? Just a lot of people that have experience with, you know, sync licensing, or you know, was it a little bit more than that?
No, that's exactly it. So the guys, Jared Alua, XJ Will, Excalibur Zero, Clint Music, Nelson K. Johnson, Real J Nolan, Daraj. These are guys who, when I was starting to get into sync, get back into sync over the last year and a half, 2 years almost, I was finding these names and these people, and I just kept seeing them pop up. You know, you type in hashtag sync licenses and you just see what comes up and start doing research on like social media. And these guys, their names kept popping up. And then these guys they're teaching about sync licensing, but they also have placements. So a lot of times people are teaching things that they're not actually doing. These are guys who are teaching what they're doing. So they're getting placements on the big shows, on the sports networks. Daraj just got the second Black Panther placement, and he accepted the call. So all these guys accepted the call to join the panel. I didn't really know them personally. They didn't know me personally, but and I asked a lot of them, you know, what made them accept the call, and they were like, they just saw, you know, things that I was doing, and they saw that, you know, there was some credibility there. So yeah, definitely appreciate them. I don't know if NAMM will accept that many again, but it was really great, a really great moment for music, a great moment for sync, a great moment for African American music, Black music, and that's the vision that I sort of had, and thank you to NAMM for allowing that vision to come to fruition.
The Fingers has done 2 episodes here on the Major Music Lounge podcast. And yeah, just we have other stories from creators on, you know, how they promote their music. You know, even like King Shamps, who was a recent interview, but he talked a lot about how he utilizes getting on like podcasts and blogs to promote his music. And you mentioned, you know, you got to continuously push your music. You got to continuously push your music in 2024. Yeah. What are you doing like locally as well as, you know, possibly on the internet to continue to push your brand, push your music forward?
Oh man, is that what I'm doing right now? What me and you doing right now? I'm at interviews every week. You know what I mean? Interviews every week. Sending links out to like-minded individuals who actually fuck with hip hop, who actually fuck with bars and dope production. I'm networking consistently, you know what I mean, on a local level and on an international level as well. You know what I mean? I just finished a podcast up with a couple of guys from Germany, knocked that out, got a couple other, you know, interviews that's going to be dropping from a couple of France, dope radio stations over there. And then I recently did an Instagram live with one of the top radio station hosts from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. You know what I mean? We did a live talking about Rise of Corleone. He had his questions and everything, and it was a really dope conversation and dialogue. So I'm hustling. You know what I mean? We taking it back to that Master P out the trunk shit, but virtually. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, yo, like every day we hitting people like, yo, this is a whole new sound. It's a whole new wave. You know what I mean? If you got a podcast, if you got radio, whatever the case may be, we're going to constantly promote. We're going to constantly attack. It's the same way with our music. And I feel if you want to get shit rocking right now, you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to promote your brand consistently. And don't give a fuck if the person saw it 9 or 10 fucking times. Here's 10 more. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to get where I got to go with this thing. You feel me? So that's where we at with it consistently. Every day, interviews, podcasts, linking up with people, networking with folks, sending different things. You know what I mean? And it's a day-to-day process. But I can honestly say that since we've been doing it since the top of the year, incredible results, man. So we're going to stay
music
consistent.
and just spoke about, whether it's 5 people tuning in or 100 people tuning in, how that was, more people that heard your name and, heard where to find your music and they might be interested. I think that was pretty cool from, being a not only podcast host, but also a artist and producer myself, because I seek out going onto other platforms to talk not only about the Major Music Lounge, but just the projects that I do as a creator. So I definitely think there's some merit to what King Shamp said. And yeah, go ahead. All the people that I'm mentioning, go ahead and hit them with a follow. Check out their episodes. It's here on this channel. But I wanted to just tell some of those stories because that's what the Major Music Lounge podcast is about. Other creators coming together to spread some knowledge and network with each other. I've seen some of the creators that have been on my platform appear on other platforms, and I think it's pretty cool that you guys are working together and doing some great things. Even like the international people, 16 Sounds Beats.
Man, tell me really about how you got into music production.
Well, the thing you're gonna laugh at it. You might laugh at this. When I was about 16, I started making beats on my PlayStation. If I'm honest.
Okay.
So I was using MTV Music Generator.
I was just
at
about
16 years old,
yeah.
and I was making beats off that. I was making little block beats off that. Obviously, nothing come out of it. But yeah, so my PlayStation 1. My grey little PlayStation 1, I was making beats off that for a while. Didn't show anyone it. But I was connecting my keyboard. I've still got the keyboard here, the Yamaha. I was connecting that to it, had a little sampler on there. But you couldn't really do too much on there. It was very limited piece of software on your PlayStation. So I started on that. And then I was downloading the light versions of Fruity Loops. I used to call it Fruity Loops here. It's called FL now, FL Studio everywhere. I was downloading the light versions of that, playing around with that. Not really very serious. Cubase, done a bit on Cubase. Again, nothing too serious really. And to be honest with you, I've only been doing it for a few years now. Really properly, seriously. Lockdown, over here in lockdown when we had COVID, I was using MPC Beats, and I was using the MPD 218 on that. The square pad with the 16 pads on there.
Yeah.
I was using that. And then something went wrong with the software on there, on my Mac. So then I got the MPC. I got the MPC. No, actually, before that, I had the MPK Mini with the MPC software. I was making some good beats with that. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I was using that. And then I got the MPC One. And ever since then, that's it. It's taken off from there.
Electronics from Australia. Tell me a little bit about your journey as far as when did you get started with creating music and how long have you been creating music?
Yeah, so I started music quite a while ago, like probably in the early 2000s. However, I didn't really start applying myself or taking things seriously until 2012. That is when I really made a choice that music is definitely something that I want to make a part of my everyday life. I want to create a sustainable income from it. And I'd like to be able to really, it wasn't about the income, actually. It was more about engaging my passion and my gift of music and actually applying it into my life every day, because I had a strong feeling or strong will that if I engaged my passion in my life, that would bring me a lot of fulfillment and happiness and purpose in life. So it wasn't until 2012 that I really put my head down. I started really practicing my skills, my vocals every day. I was singing every day. I was going out performing like open mic nights, because I started out as a singer-songwriter, so I was playing my guitar and writing songs and singing. And so I was like really applying myself since then, since 2012. And ever since then, my life has only just grown. You know, it's just kept kind of like opening doors, new doors, and expanding on what I'm doing. So,
Sani from Amsterdam, 9 a.m. in Amsterdam. Is that going to be a part of a new project you have coming out?
Yeah, for sure. That's like I said, I'm trying to take my time with it this time. So this is gonna be in a new project. This is like the first single off of that project. And I'm really, really trying to stretch that single. You understand what I'm saying? I'm really, really trying to, from the YouTube, I'm dropping like teaser videos and just hints and hints. It's gonna be out sometime next month.
Okay.
The video is right now in process of editing. It's with the guy editing it, and we're going back and forth. And it's just re-strategizing as for me as where I am now. And that's just what this is, man. It's not doing visuals is not something that I've heavily invested in before. I'm a little bit shy sometimes,
Yeah.
And and I try, and I have so many like my friends, my colleagues that are also creative. I have a bunch of video guys with me, and they keep telling me at some point you're gonna have to do this, and I'm just like, I know, but now I'm really, really getting into it. Shooting the video was a whole lot because I had to be cool and stuff. And yo, man, that shit is tiring as fuck. But I'm just getting into it basically, and it's exciting because it's the more I'm doing it, the more it's giving me more ideas, and I'm thinking like you can really create something, like create a visual, create something compelling and tell a story. Like my mind is crazy sometimes, and I feel like you can really get people into your mind a little bit and just taste like, yo, this guy's onto something. And I feel like, you know what, from now, like moving on, that was kind of my goal this year. I want to shoot like 4 to 5 visuals at least this year. And, each with a different setting and a different mindset and all that. So yeah, that's just fingers crossed. And I'm sticking one at a time. 9 a.m. in Amsterdam, that's a new song. Yeah, just a song I recorded sometime this year, and it's just, I think it's really nice, and I want to put it out. Also, just to tap into the Amsterdam city a little bit, and just kind of, I feel like I can do all of this now because you laid base. You have a solid. No, I don't want to say solid, but you have a catalog of something that can always, pass your message faster. But right now, it's more about being strategic about tapping in the right places, the right shots, and all that.
We've connected with a lot of people, not just in the States, but all across the globe. So, Major Music Lounge is kind of that place for independent music creators to come and talk about what they're doing. So I really appreciate everybody that has supported me through this time, and I look forward to many more shows. If you enjoyed this episode, please go ahead, hit a like. You could also follow me on Instagram at d._majormusic. Same thing on Threads as well as TikTok. Follow me on X or Twitter at d.mme. And if you're looking to get on the Major Music Lounge podcast, you can hit me up on any one of those social media platforms, and we'll see about getting you on. There will be a point throughout this summer where I'm going to just be taking some time away from the podcast. So I would like to get some episodes recorded to have go live while I'm on break, and connect with me if you have any projects coming out in June or July and you want to get on the podcast to discuss that. So until next time, it's your host D. And I'm out.
Major Music.